Hey, my name is PolishLynx and welcome to Driftwood The Visual Novel. Maybe I should say just Driftwood, I mean... That's basically the title, a visual novel. I don't know if it's actually a part of the title, but well... No point in thinking out that, right. So, I will probably keep saying Driftwood The Visual Novel, because that's how it's named on Steam. So yeah, alright, let's start on a new day, let's see where this is going and so on. The sound of rain pattering onto the roof and against the window wakens me from my slumber. For a time I just look around the room from the comfort of my new bed, letting my mind revisit the previous day's events. The different buildings, the people, even the island in general. Eventually my phone's alarm beeps, signaling it's time to get up for the day. The rain fell down, passes by quickly, and after a short shower to help wake my senses, I find myself looking now at the clothes that are laid out on the kitchen counter, and I just realized, because at that sound you probably heard, I have not logged out from player.me. Okay. There's a snazzy looking blue and white vesting, similar to a sweater vest, with a pair of khakis. It looks like it fit nicely over a shirt, and it isn't too warm or stuffy. The color scheme is pleasant, not too over flamboyant, but not too boring or plain. A purplish hue with hints of blue and teal. If anything, it looks like something you'd wear in the spring or summer. Beside it lay a much bulkier jacket, an indigo hue, that looks like it'd be more comfortable in the colder months. Seeing how it wasn't going to be getting any warmer with coming fall, I throw the jacket and khakis on. Might as well get used to wearing this. The jacket is a little loose, but it fits alright. I take a gander down at my phone, seeing that I only had a few minutes before classes were supposed to start. I throw all my school-related items into my bag and head downstairs. Today is the big day. Downstairs I find Matt and Elric sitting at the same table, both of them silently eating a bowl of cereal. I offer them a wave and settle myself down beside Matt as they eat. Morning. Hey man. Matt makes an unintelligible noise from his bowl of cereal before pulling it away from his face, wiping his mouth with the sleeve of his sweatshirt. He stares up at me and offers a grin, chunks of cereal coating his teeth. You hungry? After such few, probably not, really. I cringe ever so slightly at the sight and give a nod, turning to Elric in the hopes that he'd be a little less disgusting to look at. Elbit, there anywhere to get food? Elric gestures towards the cabinets and the fridge in the cooking area behind him. Help yourself, man. Anything with my name on it, you can have. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. For being new, it's a surprisingly tender offer. Eric seems like a cool guy. I pick myself up from the table and make my way over to the cabinets hanging above the cooking area and start to search. All the cereal boxes I see have different students' names on them, and I find it quite interesting to see a community of people that trust one another enough to leave their stuff out in the open. Even if it's just food, it shows a good deal of trust. Both are one cabinet over. I haven't eaten cereals in the morning for forever. I grab a box of cereal that has Elric's name on it, along with a bowl from the cabinets. The plastic wire is apparently shared use as well. Inside of the fridge is the same deal. Some things have names and the other items don't. Once back at the table, I find that Jake has replaced Matt, who has vanished from the room. I nod towards Jay as I go about eating my breakfast. You get the answers down for math? Yeah, it felt more like busy work than actual work for. I noticed that too. Hey Marcus, what were they teaching you in math at your old school? Algebra 2, I think. Weird, we're doing pre-calc. Did you do Algebra Junior year? Eric looks at Jay with a confused and somewhat expectant look, like his friend would know the answer. We might have. I don't really pay attention to class names, but I'm pretty sure pre-calculus comes after algebra. When do class start anyways? 8:30, speaking of which, I need to get my stuff. Go get my stuff. Same. We'll catch you later, brother. As they get up to leave, I pull my phone out of my pocket to see that the time has passed quite quickly and 8:30 is coming up shortly. Best I finish up my cereal and go. Outside, I'm welcomed by the sight of students making their way to the school grounds in packs and some one by one. The flock of white undershirts and indigo jackets and vests move in a steady stream as we progress towards the school. There's a good portion of students who also wear their own clothes, which makes me wonder why some choose to wear the uniform. Why not? I feel a little lost within the stream of different people. Some look tense, others look free as birds. It makes me wonder what the school environment is like here. I spot Eric and Jay close by, talking and laughing between each other. A few kids here and there give me a tap or pat, welcoming me and introducing themselves. But none of them really carries on a conversation that is worth remembering. That is until a fuchsia-haired girl walks right in front of me and gets her foot caught on my leg. She stumbled to the ground like a sack of potatoes and with as much grace as one too. I'm left looking down at her with a blank expression, knowing full well it wasn't my fault. She fell. Best to be polite regardless. Sorry, my bad. I offer my hand down to her and she looks at me embarrassedly for a moment before taking it. She hops up, bouncing to her toes after using me as leverage and gives me a smile. The pink-haired girl just looks around at the rest of the students as she brushes herself off. Thanks, today's just really not going my way. I know that feeling. She has a rather obnoxiously young-sounding voice, high and squeaky like a pre-adolescent girl, although it's obvious she's a teenager. It takes her a second of staring, but eventually her eyes start to twinkle in awe and she gasps. I haven't seen you before, are you a new student? Yeah. The oddly cold-haired girl only makes a noise between a whimper and a squeal, extending her hand out towards me happily. I'm May. Nice to meet you, May. I give her hand a little shake before looking down towards where she had landed. Oh my gosh, sorry for walking out in front of you like that. It's okay. Just watch out next time, yeah? Marcus, why won't you say what's your name? May nods, taking a quick glance towards the school before gasping once again. Oh, I gotta go. See you later, alligator. She starts to hurry off, but then quickly does a 180 and comes right back over. Wait, what's your name? I can't help but laugh at forgetting to introduce myself and seeing her walk in a circle. Sorry. I'm Marcus. She gives me a content smile and nods her head before waving me off and skittering back to where she had been heading before. Nice meeting you, Marcus! Her childishness is a slightly heartwarming sight. Once inside the school building, I find it at least a little less hectic and fewer people seem to recognize that I'm new. I wait at the front desk and wave Eric and Jay off as they pass by, venturing to their classes without me. After a few seconds, that lovely Elizabeth shows up with a cup of coffee, a drained, sleepy look on her face. Oh, good morning, Marcus. How can I help you? I was wondering about my classes and such today. I have my schedule, but I don't really know my way around. Elizabeth purses her lips for a moment and yawns, setting her coffee down onto the table as she starts to speak. Did you want a personal guide for the day? Yes, please. A guide? To show you around campus. Sure. Okay, I don't know if that's a good idea, but let's go with that. The idea of having someone to help me get into the growth of the first day seems like a good idea, so I nod my head in the affirmative towards Elizabeth. Sure, that'd be cool. Maybe. Elizabeth doesn't say anything more. Instead, she picks up the front desk phone, dialing a series of numbers before leaning her weight on one leg and waiting. After a few seconds of silence, she starts speaking into the phone, pacing back and forth behind the front desk. Hey, Elizabeth here. Can you excuse Yuko from class and tell her to head to the front office? Yeah, Yuko, there's a new student here. Alright, thank you. Elizabeth hangs up and quickly reaches for the cup of coffee waiting at her desk, downing a good portion of it desperately. So, I'm guessing you won't be my guide. Yuko will be down in just a minute. She'll help you out with any questions you have. Thanks, I appreciate it. Elizabeth nods her head and switches gears, looking down the computer and letting out a frustrated sigh. Something wrong? She turns her attention back towards me after clearing her mind with the coffee's help. And now just the work here tends to get rather pointless and blunt. How so? I'm doing something anyone could do. It's a little demanding. I had so much potential, but I ended up here of all places. She pauses and looks to me before shaking her head, disapproving of the conversation we just had. Never mind, sorry, should have kept that to myself. It's alright. I smile reassuringly. Her being honest about her job really isn't that big of a deal. Being a front desk manager can be that hard for a school with only 200 or so students, most of whom I assume live on the campus and are easy to track down if needed. After a few moments, Elizabeth gets back on the phone, asking for different files and such for a certain student. Slowly her voice becomes background noise and I just gaze around the room, inspecting all the achievements and awards the school has earned over the past years. I wonder how many students graduate from here and proceed to college, figuring they would have to do the same thing I've done but in reverse. Having to move off island just to go to school seems more logical than moving on to an island to go to school. Marcus! The sound of Elizabeth's voice right over my shoulder wakes me from my daydreaming. Turning on my heels, I came face to face with Elizabeth and another girl who looks to be my age. Marcus, this is Yuko. She'll be your guide for the day. Her hand struts forward in a professional but friendly manner. Yes! That's a good guide! The girl has long, ashy black hair that descends past her shoulders. It's mostly straight, but small strands contrail and twirl towards the end of its length into small spirals and curls. She has a deep goldish brown hue to her eyes and a pretty petite feminine face. A smooth jawline accompanied with a soft-skinned complexion makes her look appealing to speak with. Topping it off, her body structure is more alluring than most girls her age, looking more like a model than a student based on her posture and well-endowed features. Good morning. I reach out and take her hand, giving it a gentle shake. Nice to meet you, Marcus. My name is... Pleasure, Yuko Beaumont. Beaumont. I let my hand pry itself away from her own, resting it at my side as Elizabeth looks between us before nodding. What is it? If you have any questions, just ask Yuko. She'll take care of you. You two share a good deal of classes together. Oh, now that's good to hear. How many classes we are talking about? That's very important at the moment. That's really important. Alright, thank you. I think. Definitely. I turn my attention back towards Yuko and Elizabeth as Elizabeth returns to the front desk. Yuko gives me a warm smile and it tilts her head ever so slightly. So, any questions? I did have one. I look down to her uniform for a few seconds as I think of how to word the question. We've the universe noticed that some people are wearing them and others aren't. How does that work? The uniforms aren't mandatory, but you can wear them with any other articles of clothing you choose to. Oh, that explains Elric. Oh, you've met him? Yeah, I was a little confused. Everyone is confused at first. A lot of students like wearing the whole uniform, others prefer only wearing some bits of it, or none at all. It's all preference, really. I see. He offers another comfortingly over-friendly smile. Huh. Over-friendly, you say? So, ready to head to class, or is there anywhere you need to see or to be specifically? I shake my head and gesture for her to lead the way. Nope. Nope. Class sounds good to me. Which is a lie. Wouldn't want to be late on the first day. Alright, good thinking. Yuko calls out to Elizabeth, who is half asleep, of course. At her desk now, continues sipping from her cup of coffee like it was her life support. Elizabeth, Marcus is in Mr. Mallard's homeroom, right? I lower my voice so only Yuko can hear me, making use of her as my guide for the day. What does homeroom mean here? Homeroom is the classroom we meet in before classes start, and usually you have your first class in them as well. I figured. And when class is going to start soon, I'm sure Mr. Mallard would appreciate meeting you before the lecture. I nod and nervously wipe and tug at my uniform to make sure it was fitting right and looking presentable. Yuko notices the fidgeting and gives me a small complimentary smile that is enough to subdue my worries. The uniform looks nice on you, don't worry. Yeah, well, I should be the one saying that about you looking good in this uniform, okay? Whatever. She gestures for me to follow as we begin the journey up the hallway laced with bookcases. The hallway isn't actually as endless as I thought, and there are plenty of smaller rooms and hallways that seem to branch out from each corner. We stop in a small room filled with small bunks and tables, along with a large bulletin board. Yuko turns to face me once more. This is a common room. This is where a lot of people hang out and do homework between classes and such. Wait right here, I'll go get Mr. Mallard. I nod in agreement, although I'm not really sure why don't we just walk in together and let me introduce myself. Okay, Yuko reappears a few seconds later with a new figure standing behind her, a quizzical look on his face. He's tall, lanky blonde-haired guy with a silky-looking shirt that has flowers on it. So I'm not the only one that noticed that. Here he is! I extend my hand with a smile. Marcus, take. He offers me a friendly smile and reaches out with both of his hands, clasping them around my own before giving them a firm shake up and down. Kind of weird handshake, but it could be worse. Pleasure to meet you, Marcus. I'm Mr. Mallard, your homeroom and social science teacher. Weren't you supposed to have met him when he checked in yesterday? You'd be surprised to know the school's faculty actually has a really hard time getting their things together. Mallard offers a casual grin as if his statement was some kind of joke. I'm sorry, I wasn't informed you were here earlier, otherwise I would have made an appearance. It's alright, just happy to be here. He approves of my spirit towards the situation, rewarding me with the same grin he had just given Yuko. Glad to hear it. I hope you're looking forward to a year filled with learning plenty of social sciencey stuff. I nod my head instinctively, but look to Yuko for her opinion on what my answer should really be. She should know whether or not the classes for each teacher are any good or not. Yuko gives me a quick wink and bows her head, slipping into Mr. Mallard's homeroom. So, how do you like it so far? It's different, but so far so good. A lot of interesting people. She chuckles and gives me a thumbs up. If you're looking for interesting, you've come to the right place, my friend. Mallard lifts his arm up and then glances down at the watch wrapped around his wrist. Well, class is about to start in a few minutes, so come on in. Don't want to keep the eager learners from blooming, do we? He gestures towards the door, opening it completely to allow me to step inside. While his use of language is odd to say at least, I'm rather excited to have a teacher that actually seems to care about what they teach. I'm greeted by the sight of the homeroom students, most gazing up in Mr. Mallard's and my own direction. Nice hair, the girl on the left that disappeared just a second ago. The classroom itself really isn't that big, nor is it populated very densely, and the character on the right is similar to one of the characters, well, not very similar, but in terms of hairstyle and hair color similar to one I know. Okay, Yuko is in the front of the room, a paper in one hand and a marker in the other. No one else in the class really catches my immediate attention aside from a kid in a wheelchair and the person in the very corner of the room, nearest to the last window. She looks almost worried or scared that I'm here. Everyone, this marks with egg, the new student from Boston. Try your best not to scare him too much. Mr. Mallard's attitude towards the whole situation of my transfer is refreshing, making it more a joke than a big deal. Being new isn't really my favorite thing. The last thing I want is to be treated special just because I'm new. I just raise my hand and offer a wave to the class. Hey? Hey! The small classroom responds in unison towards me, with a decent number of greetings ranging from simple hellos to waves. I'm going to grab some coffee. I'll be back in a bit and we'll start class. You have this and finish any homework you didn't bother finishing last night. Yuko takes a seat down near the front of the room, and I shadow her action, taking a seat beside her and setting my stuff down beneath the table. She leans in and murmurs under her breath as Mr. Mallard steps out of the classroom. If you have any questions during class, write them down and show me. Mallard gets irritated when people talk during his lectures. She pulls out a few pages of paper from a notebook and slides them across the table to me along with a pen. Will do. Yuko goes about shuffling through her organized belongings, leaving me to look around the room. Elric has managed to fall asleep in the small time Mallard's been gone, his face resting against the desk, body hunched over. He even seems to be droning a small bit. A few minutes pass and Mallard eventually makes it back to the room with his coffee, which he set down on the table Yuko and I are sitting at. Mallard has positioned himself up at the front of the class, looking over everyone with an investigative look. This must be Mr. Mallard's method of seeing how many people are actually paying attention. The sound of snoring catches my attention and I glance over my shoulder to see that Elric is still snoozing. I hear a quiet tap noise in front of me and I focus back to Mr. Mallard. His other hand is near his face, a finger over his lips, telling me and the other students to stay silent as he passes our table and slowly stalks towards Elric. As he approaches Elric, the whole class falls completely silent, watching in curiosity. Mallard reaches into his pocket as he stands beside the blonde-haired student who has decided class would be a good time to catch up on his sleeping. He deftly pulls out a black marker pen and squats down to get on the same eye level as Elric. I lean slowly over to Yuko, whispering as silently as I can. What is he doing? His usual punishment for Elric falling asleep. My eyes dart back to watch Mr. Mallard dexterously and gently press the pen to the area of skin between Eric's nose and lips. The marker scribbles quickly and forcefully, getting a good amount of ink onto Eric's filled room before the smell and touch of the wet felt tip starts to wake him. Eric stirs only to lunge upwards in shock as he realizes he had fallen asleep. Oh shit. Mr. Mudd quickly pulls away, hiding the marker in his back pocket as he looks over Eric with a theatrical scowl. Sleeping in class again, Eric. Sorry, what happened again? The whole class is silent, albeit trying to contain their laughter. Good. Can I start class now? The class finally breaks out into small laughs and giggles, and I can't help but grin a bit. Yeah, sorry. Eric's oblivious, sorry. I feel kind of bad for him in a way, but I guess Mr. Mallard doesn't take kindly to people slacking. It's a good first lesson from his class. Mr. Mallard strides back up to the front of the room. A small but entertained grin lingers on his lips as he paces to and fro in front of the board. It's kind of obvious he's doing his best to hold back a laugh, but Eric probably wouldn't catch on to that. After a few steps, he begins his class. Alright, we'll start where we left off last week. What? What are you talking about? I don't know what you ended last week on. His lecture is slow to start as he gathers his thoughts. I don't even know what he's talking about for the first few minutes. It's kind of just incoherent rambling, to be honest, but at least he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Eventually he pulls his loose points together and constructs a pensive lecture filled with cultural and political commentary on the related subjects, mostly having to do with renewable energy. Now that's something I would like to hear in school. Not some pointless thing. Usually the topic would be boring, but Mr. Muller does a good job of making it interesting as well as inclusive, pointing at people and asking them what they think on the subject or how they feel about his personal opinions. Wait, what? Asking people? I wouldn't like this class already because of that. It gets to the point where he's pointed at almost everyone, and because of this I've been able to sample each person's voice in the attempt to remember all the pitches and tones, along with their ideologies. Although the person nearest to the back window has yet to be called on. The class moves along steadily, and before I realized the lecture, which was apparently nearly 3 hours long, has already finished. Which means it's lunchtime. Most of the students immediately rush out of the room as if they were starving or running from a monster. Can't blame them. I'd be hungry too if I wasn't so interested in what Mallard was speaking about. Mallard returns to the back of the room and plops down at his desk to relax. Yuko turns to me as she collects her items. Would like to get lunch? Yes. Give me a second, please. I collect my own things and make my way to Mr. Mallard's desk, offering him my handout of gratitude for his class. Thanks for the lecture. It was a lot better than what I was used to, seriously. Really. He glances up from his computer and smiles, taking my hand and giving it a firm shake. Glad to hear that. You were a better listener than what I'm used to. We share a chuckle and his laugh slowly drains to a painful, annoyed sigh. Just don't sit up like Eric, or I'll do the same to you. No mercy, even if you are new. I can tell he's half joking because of his tone, but his eyes cut through me like a knife. His point is pretty clear. Don't dick around. Understood. It won't happen. Probably. The intimidating glare of his eyes diminishes back into the jokey, friendly look they had at the start of the class. Stay out of trouble, Marcus. Good first class. Hope your day goes well. Will do. Thanks. As I turn to leave, I spot the figure who was sitting nearest to Mallard's desk during class. She's fidgeting as she collects her things, awkwardly stumbling over her own hands. Eventually, she stands up from her chair and turns. Our gazes connect, which makes her freeze in place. Her eyes are a Caledon jade color, with a serenity that looks soundly disturbed by the stare of we share. The eye contact lasts no longer than a second, and she's out of the room. Remaining uncalled on for today's class indefinitely. I am perturbed by the minuscule action of us looking at one another, but I feel almost guilty as if I had terrified her, or offended her or something. Yuko gently pats my shoulder and gives my side a little nudge, apparently having witnessed the brief exchange. She's shy. It wasn't you. Alright. That is only a little reassuring. Hopefully I don't have to deal with more awkward encounters like that. I can figure her deal out later. For now, it's time to eat. Outside is a little less cold compared to yesterday's sun shower. Sun with a cool breeze and a slight overcast blocking out the sun every now and then. Elric, Yuko and myself sit at the table eating our lunch. The food is delicious and actually cooked much better than anything I've had at my old school, not to mention the line was tiny compared to my old school. Baked chicken with rice and green beans. It's simple but still tastes like gourmet cooking compared to a half-raw cheeseburger using pit paste like I'm used to. Eric is stuffing his face, still having no idea about the drawing literally right under his nose. Yuko and I decide it's best for him to figure it out on his own, but it's hard to look at him without laughing or making a comment. Eh? So man, you gonna eat your rice? I was going to, yeah. Damn, what about you, Yuko? If you really want, you can have the rest of it. I'm not that hungry today. Yuko takes a few more bites before scooting her tray over towards Eric, who by this point has a stupid grin on his face. Eric eagerly pours the contents of what had been on Yuko's tray into the containers atop his own. Thanks, I'm so hungry. While I stab a few green beans with my plastic fork, Yuko turns to look at me. Self-consciously, I pause with the fork a few inches from my lips. Being watched while eating is a lot. What's up? Nothing. I'm just looking at you. Sorry. Oh. Yuko laughs, attempting to give my left shoulder a small pat. Instinctively, I pull myself away, too accustomed to protect my left side from bumping into things for the past few months due to the incident. Okay? Yuko raised her eyebrows slightly at my reaction, pursing her lips in thought. Sorry. Eric chuckles from across the table, his little toothbrush mustache remaining in place, accompanied by a new addition of rice kernels scattered along his mouth. He's a jumpy one. Yuko nods her head, agreeing with Eric's description. Oh, hey Yuko, by the way, when are we gonna start planning for Harvest Fest? Within the next few days. Marcus, why won't you explain the thing? Right now, the school is taking out the very basics of it all. Although I feel like we should have done that when school first started a few weeks ago. And Eric? Eric perched his eyes curiously towards Yuko, as if expecting something special like a treat to be tossed his way. Clean up after yourself, will you? Dismayed by Yuko's comment, he quickly nods and rubs his face with the palm of his hand, brushing away the rice and food scraps. The mustache remains, however, and the two of us can't help but laugh. Alright, well, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Mind taking... So he will find out about it. Mind taking out trays while you're at it? Eric looks sternly at Yuko for a moment. Please. He sighs before breaking down and grabbing all of our lunch trays. Alright, fine, only cause Marcus knew. Yuko smiles, leaning against the table with her elbows, flirtatiously fluttering her eyelashes at Eric. Thank you, Eric! Yuko prolongs her words in a teasing pattern as Eric just rolls his eyes and takes off with our trays. I take the moment to gaze out across the open expanse of the school's campus. There are clusters of kids walking about, even some teachers are enjoying the partially warm day. Mr. Malloch is at the table a good distance away, sitting with Jay and a few kids I don't know. The idea of having a friendly relationship like that with a teacher is a little strange, but nice, right? It's like the staff of the school is on the same playing field as the students, at least out of class. The food is tasty, the people are friendly, and the setting is pleasant. Today seems nice, just as long as Matt doesn't break into my room again. I think I'll take it. I like it here after all. I'm interrupted from my daydreaming, however, when I spot the girl who was in our class last period. Her hair is jet black like Yuko's, but not nearly as long. But it does curl very faintly in an inward direction at the tips. She has a very smooth face with no blemishes on it, although her cheeks are flushed to a soft pink as if constantly embarrassed. The most striking thing about her, however, is the lack of pigment to the rest of her skin. She looks as pale as a ghost. She passes by quickly, making her way nervously toward the pathway to the dorms. I turn to look back at Yuko, who is looking at me with a contemplative face. After a moment of silence and her just looking at me, I can't help but make a comment. Just looking at me again. She blinks, realizing what she was doing, and laughs a bit, shaking her head. Yeah, sorry. I was just examining. That sounds even creepier than just looking at me. She smirks, entertained by the fact I think examining me is strange. She stands up and sets her hands at her hips. You know, if you have any questions about anything regarding the school, you're welcome to ask me. I know everyone here like the back of my hand, except for you. She pouts slightly. That's what I'm looking at you for. You've got to memorize your looks and get to know you. Well, I just have a casual smile and think for a moment what I would really want to know about. The dark-haired girl who walked by seems interesting, but I've also got no clue what my next class is. The thing Eric mentioned is also a good filler for conversation. What is a Harvest Fest anyways? Does the school have a garden or something? Alright. You have the schedule, so you should know what's the next class. Ask... Okay, this might lead... I don't know to what. Wait, did I save? Yeah. Ask about the Harvest Festival. I don't want to be left behind too much on the daily events, even if I'm a few weeks late. What's the Harvest Fest? Yuko beams excitedly towards me. Oh, you weren't told? Well, I guess that makes sense. It's not that big of a deal to a lot of the faculty. She frowns at the end of her sentence and just shakes her head disapprovingly. No. Sorry, anyways, getting to the point. Yuko takes in a deep breath before going on a tangent. The Harvest Festival is a once-a-year event that takes place here as a way for the high school students to show thanks to the families and residents of this island. So during the festival, we put up little stands and we set up a carnival and let the kids play games and win prizes, like toys or belongings that we no longer need and would throw away. Kind of like a thrift shop or charity event. It's just a fun thing the school does to keep its high schoolers busy for a day and to give local families something to do to let their kids have fun. Oh, that's cute. Kind of like a community day or something. Yuko smiles happily at me understanding. Exactly! Elric returns looking pissed off, the marker mustache wrapped away. Seriously, why didn't you guys tell me? I remain silent, not wanting to step on any toes. I look to Yuko with the hopes she will be able to bail us out of this one. Yuko returns the look reassuringly and smiles before switching her focus to Eric. Eric, you know better than to sleep in class? Mr. Mallard was only trying to teach you a lesson. You could have at least told me after. I've been walking around like this all day. We could have, but then you wouldn't have learned your lesson. Eric takes it in a deep breath and sighs, shaking his head in dismay. Fine, but if you guys don't back me up again, I'm gonna be really pissed. Sorry, dude. He glances at me and stares for a long moment before his tense look fades and he gives me a regretful sigh. It's cool, man. Mr. Miles got me pretty good for, huh? Eric gives in to a light-hearted chuckle. He got me good, alright. I'll have to get him back somehow. Good luck with that! Maybe we can do this in the next episode, or maybe not. We'll see about that. For now, hope you enjoyed it, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.